Welcome to the fourth call in the METL COVID-19 Business Assistance webinar series. My name is Jason Smith and I'm President and CEO of the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. Many of you have been on previous calls, but for those of you who are not familiar with METL, METL is a regional coalition of the Manhattan, Emporia, Topeka, and Lawrence Chambers of Commerce. In the past, the Wichita and Kansas City chambers have been the predominant voices of Topeka during the legislative session. METL was formed because the leadership of these four chambers felt there was a need for a regional voice for business, and we believe that the four METL chambers represent an important voice in the middle. In addition to many common interests, the METL Coalition represents nearly 3,000 Kansas businesses. Our motto is stronger together, and together is exactly how we're going to come through this challenging time. To that end, we are pleased to have chamber leadership and interested members from each of the four METL communities on today's webinars. These webinars will be held on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. for the foreseeable future. And while we do have a maximum capacity of 500 participants, these webinars are being recorded and will be made available the same day through the METL chambers and other local stakeholder channels. And with that, let's get to today's topics. We are pleased to have Laurel Klein Searles, Unemployment Insurance Director for the Kansas Department of Labor, with us to give a general update on COVID-19 relief efforts for the businesses, a glimpse at the business landscape post-COVID-19, where we are now and what is next, and answering as many questions as possible regarding the payroll protection program, filing processes for employers, unemployment application processes for employers, and the challenges the department is facing with the unprecedented volume of calls, as well as other frequently asked questions. While the majority of the folks on this morning's calls are employers, we do have some employees as well, so it would be helpful to touch on both. It is good, besides, it is probably good for the employers and employees and employers to each have a basic understanding of what the other is going through during this uncertain times. In the interest of time, I will not go into a detailed biographical introduction this morning. I will just say that we are very pleased with how responsive you and your teams have been to us, Laurel. Thank you for making yourself available this morning, and I will turn over the presentation to you.
Well, thank you very much, Jason, and thank you to all of you for giving me this opportunity to speak with business leaders along with the individual workers that we do have on the phone. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to speak with you and get this information out to you. So I want to give you kind of a look back at where we have come from. So we look at unemployment insurance benefits on a weekly basis. And so we were moving along. We were at all-time low unemployment within the state of Kansas in about early March, mid-March, before COVID really struck Kansas hard. So as of the week ending March 14th of 2020, we had 1,800 initial claims. The next week, that skyrocketed to 23,925 initial claims, and that's your first application for unemployment insurance benefits. We were shocked at that rapid increase in unemployed individuals within the state of Kansas. And then the next week, we were flabbergasted to see the number of initial claims rise to 55,428 for the week ending March 28th, 2020. After that, week ending April 4th, 2020, we had an additional 50,345. I don't know if you all saw the numbers nationwide that came out this morning, but nationally, which would include that 50,000 initial claims from Kansas, there's about 6.6 million initial claims filed for unemployment insurance across the nation. These are unprecedented times that nobody expected. We were in a great position. The economy was doing well. And then overnight, the switch was flipped and we are seeing historically high rates of unemployment. It's important for you to also know that when we were experiencing that historically low unemployment insurance rate, we were also funded for a historically low unemployment insurance rate. So our funding is through the U.S. Department of Labor, and it is tied specifically to the number of initial claims within our state. And so we saw these all-time low numbers, we had all-time low funding, and we had all-time low staffing, which made this sharp increase more difficult for us to manage. So immediately we were able to we had about 20 people answering the phones around March 14th. Within a week, we were able to double that by looking throughout the agency to see people that we had promoted from that original intake position and pull them back into the contact center to get on the phones to assist people. After that, we developed a systematic training plan to be able to bring in other people from the unemployment insurance division, train them, and get them on the phones. But still, it seems like we're barely moving the needle because the number of claims have increased so much. I am excited to let you know today that in conjunction with the governor's office, the Department of Agriculture, and the Department of Commerce, just this morning at 8 a.m., we launched what we're referring to as a triage call center to try to help with this. So we have employees from other divisions within the Department of Labor, employees from Ag, and employees from Commerce who are answering phones on this triage call center to try to serve more claimants. So far, it seems to be working well. So those are the folks that we have trained in how to answer some of the frequently asked questions that we're receiving that I'm going to go over here with you today, who can help with those things. They can also help reset passwords and PINs and try to take care of some of that the easier items that don't require the specialized skills and training that one of our intake reps require. One of the big challenges is people talk to me all the time about, there are so many people unemployed right now, why don't you just go out and hire them? Well, to be an intake rep at the Kansas Department of Labor, it requires a specialized skill set. Typically, we like a 6-month training before we have somebody fully up and running as an intake rep, and we don't have 6 months to respond. So we're trying to act rapidly and get people's services as quickly as possible. We know that our phone lines are inundated with calls. What I would encourage folks is if you are able to get through on the phones, that you stay on the line. It's important to stay on the line. Don't abandon your call. Remain on hold. We also have a virtual hold option as well until you can speak to someone and get service, because it's very difficult, or it has been very difficult, to get through the phone lines. I'm excited to see what our statistics look like at the end of the day after we see what kind of impact this triage contact center has had. In addition, we're trying to put a lot of more information out on social media and on our website. So you can, every morning we do a Facebook Live in which one or two members of our team update everyone on what's going on with unemployment insurance at this point in time. And then on Wednesdays, we do a live town hall at 3 o'clock where we answer questions live. Secretary Garcia always does that every Wednesday at 3 via Facebook. So some of the biggest issues that we are seeing are around the past username, PIN, and email resets. People are having a hard time even logging into their online account. We're encouraging people, because of the call volume, to go to the web, go to the web, go to the web. But then when they get there, they may have set up an account back in 2012 and forgotten their username, password, or PIN. They also may have a new email address, and so it was, when they would go to reset it, the password PIN information would go to that old email address that was no longer active. So we have been working on this. We put a new fix in place earlier this week so that people can just log onto our website, www.getkansasbenefits.gov, click on Get Started, and you'll go to a page where you can create your account, log in, or there's also a button that says Forgot Account Info. If you or anyone you know of is trying to apply for unemployment insurance benefits and has forgotten their username, PIN, or password, I would encourage them to go click on that button, provide their birth date and social security number, and then ideally a new page will display with the account information. That has been a huge call driver for us because there are so many people just trying to reset those. We had opened up an email box and we had over 30,000 emails within a matter of days. So we're very much glad that we were able to get this fix in there. We know it's not going to work for every single person. We're trying to identify those cases where it doesn't work so that we can fix it and then get those people services. The other big IT issue that we had revolves around the waiting week. So our IT system, and the lights just went out on me because I'm not moving around enough. So just pause for 1 second. Okay, that's all it took. So the waiting week did not, we have waived the waiting week for claims related to COVID. So traditionally, when you file for unemployment insurance benefits, you have to serve a 1 week non-payable waiting week. We waived that for COVID-related claims. However, our mainframe system, which was created in the late 1970s, did not cooperate and did not pay out those benefits initially, which was very frustrating for claimants who desperately needed that money. So our IT department has been working to fix that. We believe that we have most of those waiting weeks paid out at this point. However, we know that there are still some out there that we're trying to get the money out to folks. So those have been the biggest kind of IT problems, along with this week we've started experiencing latency on our website. There's some lag just because of the high volume of folks that are trying to get through. We're working with our IT department to get all of these issues resolved, and we hope that we will, because in addition to serving these large numbers of claimants that we've never seen before, the federal government has also asked us to implement some new legislation that they passed through the CARES Act. So the two key pieces of the CARES Act for the, actually I'm probably going to go over 3 with you today. The one piece is an additional $600 per week on top of your weekly benefit amount that will be paid out to claimants. We're working to get that paid out to folks right now with, again, our mainframe team. They also established a completely brand new program called the Pandemic Unemployment Assurance Program. And that is a program that will provide an unemployment benefit for those who traditionally do not qualify for unemployment insurance, such as those who are self-employed, gig workers, those that are not monetarily entitled to unemployment insurance benefits. And so we're also trying to create that entirely brand new program. And we're just getting federal guidance from US Department of Labor at this point. They gave us some guidance on late Sunday evening. We had a webinar with them yesterday where they went over the confines of the program, and we are working to get that implemented as well. The other key piece of the CARES Act is it is offering some tax relief for employers, but only governmental and nonprofit employers at this point. So nonprofit and governmental employers will have a 50% tax relief on any charges related to COVID. So that is kind of what that federal legislation does. And happy to take more questions about that when we get to the question and answer portion. And really what I did want to do was leave this open, mainly use most of the time today to answer your questions, because I think that's the most important thing I can do here is get to the issues that are really impacting you. So happy to take any questions at this point that you may have. Okay,
Laurel, thank you so much again for being here. And I know there's so much of this that's very complicated and there's a lot of repetition. So I'm going to do my best to try to ask questions you haven't addressed, but if some get through, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. So I'm going to start with some questions that were submitted ahead of time. I'm a self-employed business owner and applied for unemployment benefits 2 weeks ago, knowing I would be denied, and got my denial letter last.
Oh, Jason, I cannot hear you. Jason?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry. Did you get any of the question at all?
So I got that it's a self-employed business owner that applied for benefits and got the denial 2 weeks ago, and then you cut out.
And then do I need to start over with a brand new application or just keep submitting weekly claims?
So you do not need to start over with a brand new application or even submit weekly claims at this point. So you are going to be one that we would steer towards the PUA program that we're in the process of setting up. We do not have a lot of information about this program, unfortunately, since it is brand new. The thing that we do know is that you have to be ineligible for unemployment insurance benefits in order to receive benefits through PUA. You do not have to submit a new application at this point. There will be a point in time where we ask you to submit your PUA application, but we will be heavily publicizing that. I know you're doing these calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'd love the opportunity to come back and let you know when that program is live. We'll be publishing it on social media and our website, as well as contacting television, newspaper outlets as well, to let you all know further instructions on how you can apply for PUA. It's just not known at this point. I do have my afternoon is actually dedicated to calls on how we implement this program and get it started for folks.
Okay, thank you. This may be related, but another question was, because I'm new to this, when I received my denial letter, I threw it away. Now I'm reading where that denial letter will be used as proof to receive federal unemployment. Is there another way for me to provide proof of being denied?
So if you were denied already, we have record of that. And so don't worry about the fact that you threw away your letter. We'll find a way around that. We'll be able to check our system to see that you are denied. Hopefully it will just be an automatic check and we won't need an actual copy of your letter. Would be ideal to save you some time and energy.
Okay. Are former employees of nonprofit and religious organizations now eligible to receive unemployment benefits? If so, how do they apply?
So they may be eligible through the PUA program as well. I would encourage them, as I said earlier, the first step to seeking benefits under PUA is to file for regular unemployment insurance benefits and to be denied for those benefits. So go ahead and have them get started with that process by submitting their initial claim for unemployment insurance benefits is going to be the best action they can take right now.
Okay. This is a question we've been getting a lot too. Will employers be shielded from negative ramifications regarding experience ratings due to increased claims related to COVID-19?
Yeah, that's a very important question. So right now we know that Congress has passed relief for rated governmental employers and for nonprofit employers. So they will be shielded from 50% of the benefit charges related to COVID claims. At this point, Congress has not passed any sort of relief for contributing employers. When I have the opportunity to speak with our delegation, our Kansas delegation in Congress, I do advocate for employers. I think that's something that we need to have in place, is a tax shield for employers. None of us expected this COVID crisis. And personally, this is not the Kansas Department of Labor talking, this is Laurel Klein Searles talking. Personally, I believe that there should be a tax shield in place for employers who are negatively impacted by COVID, but we need our partners in Congress to cooperate with my personal wishes. So I would encourage you to reach out to your delegation and ask for some sort of tax shield for contributing employers as well. The one positive note is your tax rates are not going to increase at all. They're not going to be affected until January 2021 at the earliest. So you wouldn't see an increase in UI taxes until January 2021.
Okay. And this may be a couple of questions. Explain if someone can be on unemployment and hired back under the payroll protection program. Can they do both if the business cannot give them the same hours they had before the closing?
Yeah, they potentially can do both. So the payroll protection program is not through the Kansas Department of Labor. I believe the Kansas Department of Commerce is working with that program. However, I understand the purpose of the program. So what we look at to determine whether or not somebody is unemployed is how much they are working and how much they are earning within a week. So if they are working less than full-time and they are earning less than what we determine to be their weekly benefit amount, whether that be through the PPP program or part-time wages, something else, they may still be able to qualify or be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits and take advantage of both. It is possible.
Okay. Let's see. So here's a question. Will it delay funds if individuals still waiting on debit cards go in and sign up for direct deposit?
No, it won't cause a delay. So if you have signed up for the debit card originally and you want to select direct deposit for the future, the benefits that have already paid out are going to be on that debit card. And then all benefits moving forward will be paid through direct deposit. And I really would encourage folks to initially select direct deposit. It is going to be faster. The debit card is not released until or not sent out until your first payment has been released to you. And then it's 7 to 10 days after that payment's been released before the card actually reaches you. Whereas direct deposit is a much faster process. So I'd encourage you, if you're filing initially, to sign up for a direct deposit. You can sign up for direct deposit when you're in your account. You can select payment options. That allows you to select the Bank of America debit card or direct deposit, where you can then enter your banking information and the funds will be deposited straight into your bank account.
Okay. So question from employer, when we are ready to reopen, is there an ideal way that we should get our staff rehired, such as a spreadsheet, or should we simply use the regular method?
Yeah, just use your regular method to rehire. And you do not have to notify the Kansas Department of Labor that you have rehired. Your individual employees would just need to stop filing their weekly claims, or if they're working less than full time and want to continue filing weekly claims because they are working less than full time and earning less, they can, on their weekly claims, they need to be sure to accurately report their hours worked and their earnings, so that then we can offset their unemployment insurance benefit by the amount that they're earning working part-time.
Okay. This is, I think, a very specific question. What is the best plan for a small family-owned business with 3 full-time employees and 20 part-time employees with less than 20 hours a week? Can someone who has a job and is an independent contractor, can they get PUA benefits for their independent contractor's income?
Potentially. And so the first thing that you would need to do is, for all of those individuals, is to go and file for traditional unemployment insurance benefits. If you are then found to not be monetarily entitled, then you would be able to seek PUA benefits. If you are able to receive some unemployment insurance benefits, then you would go through that process, exhaust your UI claim, and then you could potentially be eligible for the PUA program as well.
Okay. What will happen to unemployment insurance if employers put their employees on unemployment? Will it go up? We talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Will it go up if an employee has a reduction in hours, for example? Will there be a reduction in the care funding they're eligible for? And I think that's a PPP issue. How can people find the information on the Triage call center?
So basically how the Triage call center is set up is you just call the regular unemployment insurance contact center. We have directed our phone lines to go to the Triage call center first. So just call our regular toll-free number or any of our local area numbers that we have, and it will first direct you to the Triage contact center where people are there to assist. We are assisting more claimants today than we were yesterday. So I know, a lot of you have been calling and having a hard time. I'm optimistic that we're going to be able to serve more of you since we've implemented this additional call center.
Okay, this is a very specific question, but we have a business owner who said they have an employee that is locked out of the getkansasbenefits.com. He has a family and cannot file a claim. He has many attempts. Continue to say information doesn't match Social Security number. Is there a solution for that?
Yeah, so I see, is that Julie Haynes in the comment box? I see, Julie, you left a telephone number and an email address. So this individual is probably one that our username password reset is not working for some reason or another. And actually, Julie, there's too many digits in your phone number. You have 785-533-98033. So if you could put that in the text box again, I can have someone reach out. I appreciate this information because, as I said, we're trying to work out the glitches in the automatic password PIN reset. So I will have someone give you a call, Julie, and we'll work through this issue and get that taken care of for your employee.
Thank you for that. That's very nice. So is the $600 a one-time payment, or is it on top of the weekly unemployment benefits received?
It is not a one-time payment. It's on top of the weekly unemployment insurance benefits received. So for every week that someone receives even $1 of unemployment insurance benefits, they're going to receive an additional $600 on top of that. That's fully federally funded by the federal government. And that will continue through the end of July 2020.
Okay. So the next question is rather long, but I think you can see it there as well. I live in Kansas and spent all of 2019 as a self-employed single member LLC consultant from a home office in Kansas. In January, I began working a W-2 job in Missouri, and our store closed on March 19th, 2020. When I tried to apply through Missouri unemployment, their site said to file through Kansas, but the Kansas site said that the new COVID-related unemployment insurance programs weren't set up yet. How, where should I apply for unemployment? If staff has filed every week but has seen no money at this point 4 weeks later, how should I direct them? Can employees utilize pandemic unemployment assistance and FFCRA? What about employees who have work available but are recommended to self-quarantine due to pre-existing health conditions? There's several questions here. If I applied, you want to go ahead and start there, and then we'll get to the rest of those.
Okay. Let me see.
Okay.
Well, important thing to know is if you have a combined wage claim between, so if you have wages in both Missouri and Kansas, that is one of the situations where you do have to call into our contact center to file for unemployment insurance benefits. Unfortunately, I don't have any control over the Missouri Department of Labor, so these cases can be more difficult where there are 2 states involved and you do have wages in both states. And so if you have called us already, and I would like to know, have you actually applied and received a determination finding you ineligible? Because that's what you would need for the PUA program. That is not up and running just yet. We are working on it, but you should be able to, from what you're telling me, you should be able to qualify for that program as long as we find you not monetarily entitled within the state of Kansas. It's very hard to talk about case specifics, like individual cases, without having all of the facts in front of me. But again, this is another one where I would be happy, if you have a phone number, I'd be happy to have staff reach out.
Can employees utilize the pandemic unemployment assistance, so the PUA and the FFCRA?
So if these are actual employees who you've been paying unemployment insurance taxes on, they're more likely to receive the traditional unemployment insurance benefits. I will say the additional $600 in benefits does go on top of the PUA traditional unemployment insurance benefits as well. So you will get the additional $600 regardless of which program you qualify for through, again, the end of July of 2020.
Okay, and then what about employees who have work available but are recommended to self-quarantine due to pre-existing health conditions?
So that is one that under about a month ago, I would have told you that they could not qualify for unemployment insurance benefits. They would not be eligible for benefits because they were not able and available to work. However, at this time, the U.S. Department of Labor has advised us to loosen those eligibility requirements and allow those individuals to receive unemployment insurance benefits. So if you're self-quarantined because of a medical condition, you can still receive unemployment insurance benefits right now.
Okay. If I apply for EIDL or PPP, may I still file unemployment as a sole proprietor?
So I'm not, again, those, the EIDL program and the PPP program are not within the Kansas Department of Labor's purview. I would encourage you, though, to go ahead and apply for unemployment insurance, and then we could make the eligibility determination about whether or not you should be allowed to receive benefits. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm glad that the state is trying to save money on energy.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. We are a preschool submitted a mass spreadsheet for our 2 part-time teachers since we closed due to COVID-19, but there was nowhere to say it was COVID-19. How do we know the employees will get COVID-19 benefits?
Um, So again, if you want to put your information in the chat box, I can make sure that it gets marked as COVID related. I would say it may be easier for all of these employers with these specific questions. I'm going to give you an email box, which is available for all of the employers in the state of Kansas. It is kdol.uitax.gov. So let me go ahead and type that in the chat box for you. And so certainly if you have a question about whether your spreadsheet was marked as COVID related or not, I know the Excel spreadsheet, that downloaded version, does not allow you to mark that it's COVID related, but hopefully if then you upload it from the employer portal, there should be an option to allow it as COVID related. We're happy to look at that and make sure that it's marked appropriately. And I do want to thank all of our employers who have filed by spreadsheet. That is an enormous help to employers, to claimants, and to the state of Kansas. So I didn't talk about the filing by spreadsheet program at the start, but for those of you who may be interested, that is an opportunity for you to submit a spreadsheet with all of your impacted workers' information in one place to the Department of Labor, so that you do not have to respond to individual requests from the department regarding those people's unemployment insurance claims. Then the claimants do not have to file that initial application themselves. They just get started filing their weekly claims for benefits. It saves employers, claimants, and as I said, the Department of Labor time, paper, money, because we're not sending out those additional requests or waiting for those additional requests for information. And it's easier for employers as they get all the information provided to us up front. So that is a huge benefit, and we've had so many employers engage in that process, and we truly appreciate it and want to very much thank you for filing by spreadsheet on behalf of your employees.
Okay. Do you anticipate, this may be an opinion, I don't know, but do you anticipate at some point that one would need to apply for jobs on a weekly basis as was required previous to COVID-19?
Eventually, when we are back in that position where we feel like it is safe and it is feasible for people to satisfy the traditional job search requirements, I hope we are in a position to be able to return to that. As I said, the U.S. Department of Labor has loosened their requirements around this at this time. We're trying to adapt to the needs of claimants and employers across the state and across the nation in responding to where we are all at right now. This is completely uncharted territory for all of us. And so we're doing our best to be responsive, get people the benefits they need, while at the same time ensuring that we have a strong workforce when employers are ready to return to work.
So, and this is a question that I've had employers ask me, and maybe that the rules haven't addressed this yet, but there are instances where there are some people who maybe are being laid off or furloughed who are actually making more money than they were in their job. And if the employer gets back up and offers jobs back, is it a requirement that employee accept that position, or will they be able to maintain on unemployment?
So that is a very good question, and that's a question that I've been hearing frequently too. So for some employees, it is possible that they will be making more with that additional $600 per week. That is a very large sum to put on top of your weekly benefit amount. In Kansas, the weekly benefit amount ranges from a minimum of $122 a week and a maximum of $488 per week. So, and as I said, even if you're working part-time and we're offsetting some of those, as long as you're getting $1 in unemployment insurance benefits, you're gonna get the $600 federal dollars on top of that. And so that has been a legitimate concern for many employers is, what if my employee is making more on unemployment and doesn't wanna come back to work? First thing that I want you to consider is that you have to look at the whole package. Are you offering healthcare or other benefits that this person is going to miss out on while they're on unemployment insurance. The second thing that I would like to note is that if an individual refuses an offer of suitable work, they are disqualified for unemployment insurance benefits. So if you have someone who you have called back to work and they refuse that job because they say, you know what, I'm making more on unemployment, I'm just going to ride this thing out, that needs to be reported to the Department of Labor so that we can adjudicate that. That is a question that we ask claimants every single week on their weekly claim. We ask, were you offered work? Did you refuse an offer of work this week? If they mark yes, we automatically launch an investigation. Unfortunately, not everyone is truthful with us all the time, so we do appreciate when employers have their employees that refuse work, that they notify the Department of Labor. We will launch an investigation and we will look into, was there actually an offer, a bona fide offer made to the claimant, and then was it suitable work? Traditionally, what we look at for suitable work is training experience of the person and whether it matches that job. We also look at rate of pay and hours of work. If it's a job that you are working and then you are laid off and you are called back to, it would seem that you would fit within all of those kind of categories. But now with COVID, we have to look at other factors as well. Is the employer taking appropriate health and safety measures within the workplace? Is this a high risk person who is jeopardizing their own health and safety and returning to work? So we're going to look at a number of different factors, but as this is just your healthy run-of-the-mill employee, you're doing everything you can to protect their health and safety at work, and they refuse to come back because they want that extra $600 a week, they are going to be disqualified for unemployment insurance benefits, or at least I should say they should be disqualified for unemployment insurance benefits.
Okay. I want to remind all the participants, we're trying to get through as many questions as we can. Please use the Q&A box so that we can eliminate duplicates and not have the same questions pop up multiple times. So thank you for that. This is a specific question, but it may apply to a number of different people. A self-employed person with a loss in 2018, but a profit in 19 was denied the initial application because of the loss in 18. As soon as my taxes are submitted, will I be reconsidered, and will benefits be retroactive to the date of the last working before COVID-19?
So if we look at this, so the PUA program, this would again be under the PUA program, which at this point, the fact that you were found ineligible for traditional unemployment insurance benefits is actually working in your favor. So that's actually a good thing. That means you meet that first hurdle to be eligible for that program. And then additionally, I do know that in determining your weekly benefit amount under PUA, we're going to be looking at your 2019 taxes. So we will be considering that for the PUA program. However, as far as exact steps that you need to take, I do not have that information at this time, unfortunately.
Okay. Let's see. Can a sub-S Corp owner draw unemployment?
I would encourage you to apply. So there are different circumstances for different types of employers. And as I've said over and over again, most people are going to be able to qualify for either unemployment insurance benefits or the PUA program. So go ahead and apply for the traditional unemployment insurance benefits. Let our staff make that determination about whether or not you'll be able to receive those benefits. And then if you are denied, that puts you in a good position for the PUA program.
Okay. Will employees receiving benefits automatically receive a 1099 before next tax season? Or maybe what's the best way, how will they need to file taxes next year?
Yes, that's a very good question. So we do mail out 1099-Gs every January. It is important for folks, I know, especially maybe you're filing for unemployment insurance benefits now in April, hopefully June, May or June, you're able to return back to work full time. Your unemployment insurance benefits are the last thing on your mind at that point. But it is important to make sure that you keep your address up to date with us, or that the claimants keep their addresses up to date with us. So then when we do that mailing in January, your 1099-G goes to the correct address. Okay.
I know you touched on this briefly, and a lot of this is maybe better asked by Commerce, but proceeds from a PPP loan or a EIDL loan affect how much unemployment benefit you'll get if you file?
Yes, it could. It could impact the amount of unemployment insurance benefit you would get if you file. I believe the PPP, because it's being paid as wages to make up for the paycheck, that's the purpose of it, then it is treated as wages for purposes of unemployment, and then there is an offset from your weekly benefit amount based on that amount. So when you file for unemployment insurance benefits, the first thing we're going to do is look at whether or not you're monetarily entitled. And that's where a lot of the people that are self-employed are just going to be denied. They're going to find that they're not monetarily entitled. And then those are the people that should then look at the PUA program. The folks that are able to receive benefits will get a monetary determination. It's going to provide a total benefit amount, which is the maximum amount of unemployment insurance benefits that they're going to be able to receive under state law, along with a weekly benefit amount, which is the amount that they have the opportunity to receive each week. That I said was between $122 and $488 within the state of Kansas right now. And so if the amount that you're receiving were to exceed that weekly benefit amount, or even that or not, we're still going to do some offsetting to ensure that you're getting that you're not getting more than you're entitled to.
Okay. You touched briefly on the number of claims that have been filed. Do you know as a percentage how many of those have been paid?
You know, I don't have the percentage. I just went and broke down the raw numbers for you right before I started this. So if we look back, I'm going to give you the last 4 weeks, March 14th, when we had approximately 1,800 initial claims and 9,800 continued claims. We had 7,300 claims that were paid out that week for a total of 3.1 million. Then March 21st is when we saw the increase of initial claims to about 24,000, with continued claims being at about 10,000. We paid out 74,053 claims for $3.1 million. The following week, March 28th, we saw 55,000 plus initial claims, 17,000 plus continued claims. We paid out over 9,400 claims for 3.8 million. And then this last week is where we saw the drastic increase, initial claims of over 50,000, continued claims of over 50,000, paid out 37,150 claimants for $14.8 million.
Okay. So this is a question again from an employer who asked specifically about an employee who left before COVID-19 was an issue. The employer denied the claim, but it's still being addressed as COVID related. Is there any issues with that, or is that just going to be applied as a COVID related issue?
Yeah, I would encourage you. So if the claimant was cleared for benefits, there could be, it may not have been COVID related, and they could have been cleared for legitimate reasons. It also could be a mistake on our part. Mistakes do happen. We do have the appeals process available. It's another question we're getting right now. Our appeals office is closed because the governor ordered state offices closed except for essential workers. And we found our frontline UI workers to be essential workers, but we did have to shut down the Office of Appeals temporarily. I'm hoping to get them back up and running soon. So they're not holding hearings right now, but they still are accepting appeals. I would encourage you to submit an appeal to the Office of Appeals if you disagree with that determination. You can do that by writing a letter. All requests for appeals must be in writing, and they can be mailed to 401 Southwest Topeka Boulevard, Topeka, Kansas, 66603. It's important as the employer, you include the claimant's name. If you have the claimant's social security number, that is helpful. the determination that you wish to appeal, and just basic reason why you think that it should be appealed at this point, and get that to the Office of Appeals. You have 16 days from the mailing date of that original determination to submit that appeal. So if you do disagree with that claim or with any determination that comes out, I would encourage you to appeal.
Okay. Can someone who works a salary job and is an independent contractor get unemployment via the PUA in addition to the job to make up the whole income?
So if you work a salary job, you're probably going to qualify for some unemployment insurance benefits that may have to be offset by any kind of self-employment income. So I'd encourage you to go ahead and apply for traditional unemployment insurance benefits. If for whatever reason you are found not monetarily entitled, then you could explore the PUA program, but that would definitely be an option for you.
Okay. And you may have addressed this, I don't recall. Is the PUA system set up online yet, or when?
No, it is not at all. So this is, the PUA system was just created by Congress. It did not exist before. All of the states across the nation are kind of scrambling. We just got our first set of guidance from USDOL on last Sunday. And now we're trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to implement this? I know we're planning to put out some informational sheets out on social media and our website later this week. So please go to www.getkansasbenefits.gov or follow the Kansas Department of Labor on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And we'll get that information out on those channels. But the program itself is not up and running at this point, and I don't believe it's up and running in any state across the nation, as we're all trying to, we're dealing with record high regular unemployment insurance claims, and at the same time, we're building a completely new program. And it's a large task that Congress asked us to take on, but we are going to do our best to get this up and running and get benefits out to people who need them.
Okay, going back to the response you had on using the 2019 tax return. If they haven't filed that yet, how do they figure that?
If you haven't filed your 2009, and that's more of a programmatic question that we really haven't got to on our exploration of PUA. I cannot remember because I've read so much in the last few days. If we go back, we may go back to 2018 then, or we may ask for your best estimate. Actually, I do know that we ask for your best estimate up front, and then we request the documentation after.
Okay.
And there is a specific time frame that you have to provide that documentation. Okay.
So this is another specific question that you may have to follow up with later, but we are a fitness club and have many part-time employees. Some we can hire back and can work virtually. Most cannot work for the PPP wages. We plan to pay with PPP in both circumstances. Is that the correct application? I'm not sure if you.
Yeah, again, the PPP program is, I believe, through the Department of Commerce and not the Department of Labor, so I wouldn't feel comfortable answering that one. I'm sorry.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, I think I've got. Sorry, we're just trying to figure out these questions that come in.
Absolutely. While you're looking at the questions, I also want to mention our shared work program, which I didn't discuss before, but that is the program that we have within the Department of Labor that is a layoff aversion tool that many employers have also taken advantage of. So if you have, I thank you. That will allow an employer, instead of laying off a group of employees, to reduce that impacted unit's hours of work and still allow them to receive a partial unemployment insurance benefit. And I would also note that if you do that, your employees still will be able to receive the additional $600 from the federal government.
Okay. So the next question, I think, is a follow-up to the one we discussed about if an employee was laid off and they were offered their job back. What is the process for an employer to report that the employee refused work or hours?
So you can, You can call the contact center if you can get through. I would encourage you, though, to use that email address that I already gave you, and our tax division will funnel it to the appropriate person within the Department of Labor. I know it's very, very difficult to get through on the phone lines right now. So for all of you employers, you are welcome to use that kdol.ui/tax@ks.gov as a more efficient means of communication with the Department of Labor for those sorts of things.
Okay. So this is, and we're bad about using acronyms, of course, but can you maybe say what PUA stands for? And
Yes, so PUA is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program.
And you are the administrator of that program, is that correct? Your office?
Yes, correct. So the program was established by Congress, and then they have charged all 50 states with creating, each state has to create its own individual PUA program.
Okay. I'm working a day job that is still paying me, but I do side work, which has ceased. The side work makes up a good portion of my income. Can I get my unemployment for the side work via the PUA program?
So you would probably be more likely to qualify for traditional unemployment insurance benefits because you have that job that pays you the salary. So you're going to have covered wages, and you're going to have the ability to receive unemployment insurance. Hopefully you're reporting your wages from your side job, because then you would be able to demonstrate the decrease in income that comes from losing that side work. And so unemployment insurance benefits, traditional unemployment insurance benefits very well may be an option for you. And again, for all of you who traditional UI is not an option for you, then PUA is another option that's there to try to. The purpose of the program was Congress knew that there are a lot of people out there who are not going to be eligible for traditional unemployment insurance benefits. And so they tried to capture all of those people through the PUA program.
Okay. This was again a follow-up to a question earlier, but if the password or PIN needs to be reset, who should they contact? Is it by phone?
I would encourage to, because we just put in this new enhancement for the password PIN reset this week, and then we also upgraded it just last night. Go to www.getkansasbenefits.gov, click on Get Started. You're going to go to a page where you create your account, log in, or there is a button for Forgot Account Info. You click on Forgot Account Info, and then you input your birth date and your social security number. And ideally then your information should display on the screen. There is also a button if that doesn't work for you, and it says like, click here to contact the Department of Labor. There is a web form that you can fill out and submit to an email box so that they can assist you if for whatever reason that process doesn't work. And I will go through the comments here, and anybody that needs assistance with password PIN reset, I'll have someone reach out to you to get that taken care of, because I am really interested to see why the password PIN reset is not working so that we can get it fixed.
Okay, and just again, we had one more question, and I think this is something that's going to probably be important to the metal chambers. Can you talk again about the ramifications on the employers as it stands right now? Because again, I don't know that everybody understands that, and I know you gave your opinion, but the way it stands right now, there would be a negative impact on private businesses, correct?
Yes. So the only tax relief that has been passed at this point is for governmental and nonprofit employers. And so they get a 50% tax rate on their unemployment because of that Congress mandate. For all contributing employers, we have to follow the Kansas law as it's written related to charging. And so employers are automatically charged for benefits unless an individual has quit without good cause attributable to the worker or the employer, or if the individual was discharged for misconduct or gross misconduct connected with the work. So if the separation does not fall within those different circumstances, there will be an adverse impact on your UI tax account. And so I think it's imperative that we engage with our representatives in Congress to ask for UI tax relief for contributing employers in addition to rated governmental and nonprofit employers.
Okay. So a follow-up question to the shared work program. We had a question. What's the difference between doing shared work versus having our employees with reduced hours just file weekly claims and get whatever difference is determined between their weekly benefit and their weekly wages? As an employer, if I don't do shared work program, is that a detriment to the employees whose hours have been reduced?
It really, all it depends on is how much you're reducing your employees' hours. So shared work program allows for a smaller reduction in hours than for your employees who would just be filing for traditional unemployment insurance benefits. Additionally, the shared work program is, that is an area where Congress has acted and is providing funding for the shared work program. So it may have less an impact on your UI tax account as well.
Okay. Well, I think that's all the questions. And Laurel, I really appreciate you taking time to be with us today. Certainly appreciate you being willing to follow up with people. That's very generous. I know you're very busy, and I know the rules continue to change. And so thank you, and please thank your team and your staff for everything they're doing to try to help Kansans. For those that are on the webinar today, be sure and register for Tuesday. We are still working on that program, but we think that we'll have that resolved by the end of the week. But remember, that'll be Tuesday at 11, and then of course the following Thursday at 11 as well. So Laurel, again, thank you, and thanks everybody who participated, and thanks to our friends in Lawrence for coordinating all of the electronic. And with that, we will see everybody on Tuesday.